Eddie Costa, I'm afraid, is almost a forgotten man today. You don't hear him mentioned. He was again, somebody who played two different instruments. He was, first of all, a wonderful pianist, but he was also a great vibes player and was perhaps used more on vibes in recording situations than piano. To me, Eddie was, one of the great piano players of his generation, absolutely. And he fascinated Coleman Hawkins, who was put in a session with him out on Long Island that had never played with him before, but immediately caught on to him. In fact, Hawk asked me after he got off this thing, the first time he saw me, after whether I was familiar with Eddie. Eddie was in evidence at the half note quite a bit, played with Alan Zoot and in other settings. He was a brilliant pianist. You can hear him to really good advantage with Tal Farlow. They did some duet stuff together. Again, that was for Norman Granz. So tight. I mean, it's terrific. He had marvelous time, and with the vibes, it makes sense that he had a kind of percussive quality to his piano play. That wasn't the only thing, but in the duets with Tal, that comes out. So altogether, Eddie, he had great time. He had great taste and wonderful ears and swing and everything you could ask for. And then he went and killed himself on the West Side Highway. Boom. I was thinking about that the other day. More musicians, and some really great ones, are killed in car crashes than ever OD'd on horse. I mean, there's more of that, unfortunately. So all of a sudden, Eddie was gone. And Coleman Hawkins, who hardly ever did this, came and played at the little memorial thing at the village gate. Came and played for him.
And it was recorded. It was recorded, I believe.
That memorial for Eddie, yeah. I wish more of his had been recorded. There's a thing of his, I think it's called The House of Blue Lights, one of the too few LPs he made under his own name. He was also used to very good advantage by Billy Verplanck, the late husband of the late Marlene now, unfortunately. Billy was a reformed trombonist. He played trombone in big band. That's how he met Marlene, I think, with Charlie Spivak's band. But he was primarily an arranger, and a very good one. He made some big band records for Savoy. They're not big bands. They're, it's not 26 pieces or anything like that. Using wonderful musicians like Joe Wilder and Eddie Costa. And those things, which I don't think they've ever been CD'd, you hear Eddie to very good advantage. And so he is, there are enough recordings for anyone to get a real sense of how great he was. But I remember still how it hit me when he died, because he had not really, people had not become fully aware of just how great he was. And he was also really a really nice man. Oh. He did something interesting there was this jazz festival in D.C. that was probably sponsored by the government. It was the State Department was involved because it was like an international festival. It was dreadfully produced because some of the major events took place in a hall that had been a sports arena and had the worst acoustics that you could imagine. It was metal, you know, it was dreadful. And how anybody who had any, you know, knowledge of music could have picked that. They had the Ellington Band in there. And I think we wound up, Gunther Schuller, Martin Williams, and I wound up sitting on the floor in front of the band because that was the only place where we could really hear it. But anyway, Eddie was the featured soloist in a little kind of concerto for a small orchestra and vibes, and he did a beautiful job on that. I forget who the composer was. Might even have been Hodder, but I don't think so, no. Because when we talked about Hodder, he was a composer of some significance. So that was Eddie in a setting where probably more people saw and heard him than anything else I can think of. He was active as a studio guy, you know, he was very good at that. He could read flypaper.